Mr. Speaker, members of the General Assembly, I have very deep-held religious beliefs, but that's not where I make my determination of where I think it's right for us to land with this issue. I want to thank the members of this body for taking the time, not just in the last 2 weeks, but for years, having looked at the issue of the sanctity of life, when life begins, how do we make sense of all the things that we have all very different opinions of. This issue is very near and dear to my heart. I appreciate all the discussions I've had with so many of my colleagues this year on this issue. I also appreciate the countless doctors, both emergency room physicians, obstetricians. I've spoken to many mothers, fathers, and especially those that have had to make the difficult decisions around this issue in their lives. You've all heard the testimony. You've heard hours of testimony. There's a lot of pain related to this issue. There's a lot of hurt, and there are deeply held beliefs. This is an issue that deserves to be debated. It involves life. It involves the life of the most vulnerable in humankind. This is the approach I take in determining the stance on this most important life issue. A new human zygote has a genetic composition that is completely unique to itself, different from any other human being that has ever existed, including that of its mother. It is separate from its mother. The DNA that a child has is very unique. The baby, the color of the baby's eyes, the shape of its nose, the color of its hair, and yes, I'd like to believe that even the stature of the human being, mine was probably chosen at that point too, is very unique to each one of the babies that are created. It's all in there. It's part of the human code, and it begins at the very beginning of life, at conception. Even the determination of whether this child will have a possible anomaly has already been determined. Human beings develop at an astonishingly rapid pace. The cardiovascular system is the first major system to function. At about 22 days after the conception, the child's heart begins to circulate its own blood. 22 days. Just a few days more than we've been in this special session. This blood begins to circulate independent of the mother's blood, and the heartbeat can be detected on an ultrasound. At just 6 weeks, the eyes and the eyelids, and the nose and the mouth and the tongue are formed. Electrical brain activity can be detected at 6 or 7 weeks. And by the end of the 8th week, the child, now known scientifically as a fetus, has developed all of its organs and bodily structures. By 10 weeks after conception, this child can make bodily movements. And from as early as 12 weeks, and certainly by 20 weeks, an unborn child can feel pain. This is science. This is science. Scientific evidence is quite plain. At the moment of fusion of a human sperm and egg, a new entity comes into existence, which is distinctly human, alive, and an individual organism, a living and fully human being. From the abortion industry's Guttmacher Institute comes this statistic. 92% of abortions in America are purely elective, done on healthy women to end the lives of healthy children. We've heard the devastating results of this. We've had many women that have spoken about the years ago that they've made that decision, and still today, it is the first thing they think about. It is the pain that they still carry with them. That, to me, is heartbreaking. Many representatives already spoke to that today. Abortions change lives. It changes the outcome of 2 lives. Abortion is the intentional taking of a human life. The result of an abortion is the death of a child. I believe in the sanctity of life, and I believe life begins at conception. I believe life is a gift. This body has the duty to protect life. We also have the duty to help women of Indiana, the children of this great state, in supporting these children. The policy of the state of Indiana is to support life. I urge you to support the most vulnerable, the unborn children who cannot speak for themselves. There is no issue as important as life. Please support this bill and help us save the lives of many unborn children in Indiana.